Hello everybody. Yes, I'm doing another video, another shoot, and I think it's going to be kind of fun. I was looking at a lot of the questions I didn't get to last time. So I thought it would be fun if I did a blitz and then taped it. This is a blitz that addresses all of the questions globally that we haven't gotten to in the past. But before we get started with all of that, I'll tell you a little bit about questions regarding the April-May end of Trump's presidency remotes that I have done up until now. And here we are. It's April-May 2020, and the energy feels as if the presidency of Donald Trump ends. And there's no purpose as far as his handlers are concerned in taking his, and looking towards his reelection. The problem basically that happened was that the strategies that they had banked on, going after their rivals, using techniques similar to the techniques that they had used with Hillary Clinton, didn't work because of COVID. And then I guess there's some stuff that's, it looks like 3 or 4 major hurricanes are going to hit this year. There's 3 light ones and then a major one I'm seeing that's going to be hitting more the northeastern United States, and I'm concerned about flooding in the Gulf areas also. So basically, the takeaway of the remotes is that I think that because the president is now at, I believe, 42% and sinking, he's losing in most of the battleground states. Barring a miracle, the writing's on the wall, particularly if you think about early voting in Michigan and some of the other key swing states. He doesn't have time to play catch up with rallies if people start voting in September, and sometimes even earlier, depending upon what the policies are for the state. And so for those reasons, I think that is why energetically, I just follow energy, why I'm a heart-centered remote viewer. So when I take the energy of this thing called the Trump presidency, I'll be very curious what the other heart-centered remote viewers are seeing. It ends. This is it. I can't go any further. I can't go into June. There is no June for this presidency. So I don't know what that means. It could be that the motivation and the people that were sustaining and maintaining this presidency have fittered out. And if they have fittered out, then what sustains this presidency has come to an end. Then, for all intents and purposes, it is over. He can stay as long as he likes till the end, but it wouldn't surprise me if he left before the end, just so that he wouldn't be humiliated by the defeat, which he will probably call a stolen election. All right. I want to go ahead and now do this fun blitz where I try to conquer as much of the world as I can in 5 minutes. As people know, a tarot card blitz is where we throw the cards. I'm going to use a Whimsy's Celtic cross, which is, we pull an extra 2 cards because we have 2 bases if you do it my way. But we're going to do Celtic cross spread. We'll use the universal. Yeah, is this the universal Rider-Waite? And let's see what we get to. So we're starting with, I'm sorry, I'm a narcissistic, self-absorbed American. I'm going to start with the United States. So this is a 1-year spread on, we'll try and get to about 5-10 countries. So let's get started. We'll do a simple prayer, and then we'll go in and look at the future going forward, the 1-year period for the United States. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as I ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records for the world. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves, for our families, for the planet, for the people we love, and even to help those that we may have strife with. And together we say, Amen. Okay, let's do it. What is the future going forward this year for the United States? I'm simultaneously excited and nervous. but this is fun. Base card in the matter. The King of Swords this can be Trump's card. It's the military. It can be a military energy moving in, and also a vindictive energy moving in. The inverted High Priestess I read as vindictive female, also an attempt at a cover-up. There's something here about the military moving in and covered information, or an attempt to suppress some kind of an information that could be emerging. The High Priestess is the moon energy, which is hidden and comes out at night. It's the secret light. It's the hidden secrets. When it's inverted, it can be vindictive, or it could even be an attempt to use the dark arts. And I don't like the fact that it's associated with a military card, or it could be Trump's card. He is the King of Swords. Where we are at right now, we're in the middle of a crime being committed. That's the best way to describe it. You can see the first card here for us is the Thief's card inverted. The Seven of Swords is about taking something that doesn't belong to you, fleeing a situation before one gets caught. The fact that it's inverted could be that it is a heist or an attempt at a coup or a theft that does not take place. You can see here also the Nine of Wands is straight up, and that's to be cornered or to be caught. So it looks as if for this year in the United States, there is some kind of military action of some type, an attempt to suppress some information or to hold down some wisdom or information, Umuna in Hebrew. And in the middle of that attempt, the thief or the people are controlled or contained. They are stopped. It's about the people moving away from crazy energy. You can see here an inverted King of Cups, which is to be crazy, howling at the moon. It's lunatic energy. Inverted moon here with the High Priestess energy is also inverted moon, can be lunar energy gone awry. This is Cancer or water gone awry, also emotional instability, not going back to the old ways. Inverted Six of Cups and a lost partnership. We could be financially and physically in a bad situation this year. I know we're going through what I call a dark tunnel that goes on until about August, September of 2020. And we can see here an inverted Strength card for the nation and an inverted Lovers card. We're also seeing a lot of relationships coming to an end. The hope and the fear, the perfect judge. The judgment against us, perhaps, or the fact that there is no sound judge. And then the final outcome for the nation is there will be a reprieve. There's a feeling that there will be some redemption by April of next year. This is an April card. It's also a spring card. It's also a card that literally means to be redeemed or redemption. The Four of Wands can be the 4th month. It can be within 4 months. It's also the chuppah or a marriage card. The bride and groom celebrating an impending wedding or celebration. The clarification. The Strength had to do with the financial. Economically, it's pretty bad for the United States. You can see the business card or the female of money inverted over the health card. The broken relationships had to do with the end of confusion. So it could be that relationships change over the year because we have a new administration coming in. The hope and the fear regarding the King of Wands, there's a wheel of fortune over it. So I think in time we will have leadership again. And emotional instability. It's going to be a very emotionally unstable time as Americans attempt to unravel themselves from all of this, what could best be described as just complete and total chaos. All right, we're moving on. Next country people asked me to throw on was North Korea. Now, I don't see any energy around North Korea. And then I had this really crazy idea. I see no energy around North Korea's Kim Jong-un. And then he came out, and then he didn't look like him. The teeth were different. It's very bizarre. So I am going to do North Korea. I had a crazy idea about North Korea. What if Kim Jong-un died and his sister, who's the head of propaganda, got an actor to play Kim Jong-un, and then she just simply did everything else with this puppet actor, and then she and the Ministry of Propaganda now can make policies based. None of the policies will change. It's a puppet could play that role, and that she, remember what she had said in the previous remotes. Kim Jong-un's sister felt that she was the true leader of North Korea. So it's a bizarre idea. If he were to pass away, would she attempt to rule, having an actor play the part, because they would never accept a female leader, not right away anyway. And so instead she does this thing where she has an actor play the role, and then she spins it because she knows how to spin things, because she's the head of propaganda. And then eventually, after she's established herself in film footage, etc., as the right-hand man, and the people have accepted it, then she'll announce that he died. How's that for a theory? I'm not calling that a remote, I'm calling that a story. All right, let's see about the future of 1 year. What's happening in the next year with North Korea? North Korea. Something is going on where they're taking a really hard look at their policies, nuclear policies, etc. I see heartbreak for North Korea. For whatever reason, I don't see progress moving forward anytime soon. Not with that Three of Swords moving in. Where they're at right now, fairly peaceful in North Korea. I don't see them fighting with anybody. You can see a nice King of Cups here, and then what's crossing it is an emotionally unstable female. That could possibly be Kim Jong-un's sister. What is above? Broken contract. There's something here about potentially broken contracts. Broken contracts. And then grief. Yes, there's something here about the fact that North Korea was not able to establish the relationship. You can see here inverted Two of Cups and an inverted Three of Pentacles, which can indicate a contract. There's something here about the fact that because they had wanted sanctions to come to an end, and they had wanted to work out some arrangement potentially with the West in order to keep selling things to the West, or in order to open up business with the West, but something about a heartbreak, holding on to their coins. Again, this is a frugality card here, and heartbreak is the future of North Korea, and no contracts and no deals, loss of sacred contracts. An emotionally unstable woman comes here and creates further problems for North Korea, possibly Kim Jong-un's sister. No new beginnings here. Somebody is offering North Korea something, hopes and fears. I do think his sister is going to have some leadership powers going forward because of this inverted Queen of Swords here, which is not, I don't have to mince words, not a very emotionally stable queen. And then the final outcome is Seven of Wands. They find themselves back in a situation of defending themselves all over again. And then the Queen of Wands energy moves in with a High Priestess also moving in. Within 9 months, I'm going to go ahead and predict that things get a little bit more stable for North Korea. I still don't see Kim Jong-un in leadership. I think his sister could enter into a position of leadership. I don't think she's emotionally ready yet. It could be something that she slowly takes on over the next 3 to 7 years. She does have supporters, but she's very immature at this point, and there's a feeling from the military especially that she's not ready for the job. All right, so moving on. I got my list here based on people's requests. Everybody wanted to know about the future of China and the trade wars with China. So we'll do China next. What is going to be with China? Also want to see about Hong Kong and Taiwan. There are delays. You can see here, you've got the work happening. The base card is the Ten of Wands. This is back-breaking work, very hard work. I know the Chinese people, the culture is very much a hard-working culture. But you can see here also pushing through the 11th house is a Knight of Pentacles, which moves slowly or not at all. And so there's this delay of work. This could be the sanctions that we're looking at right here. Let's go in and take a look. An inverted Ten of Pentacles. This is a loss of one's inheritance or a feeling that they had worked very hard. I'll tell you honestly, this doesn't look good in the sense that they had worked very hard to create a certain kind of relationship with American companies, and some of those relationships had become fairly stable over the last 20 years. With an inverted Ten of Pentacles and a Five of Swords, it doesn't look good to me. My feeling, I'm entering into a remote, looking at these cards, is that there are contracts and relationships between American companies and the Chinese that will not be able to go forward because of these trade wars. And unfortunately, it may cause the Chinese to go with, to get resources and aid from other countries. You can see walking away here and a loss of an inheritance or something that had been built up for a while. So if you have a great contract with, say, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and there's a trade war and you can't get chicken, etc., you might go with a French company or another company instead that's you're not having these types of problems with. That could potentially be a problem economically for the United States. Isn't that right, Mila? Because, yes, I love you very much. Why don't you sit here? Here you go. There you go. There you go. That's your place. That could potentially be more economic problems for the United States going forward because we've lost a trade partner. There's an inverted King of Swords here that can be angry, that can be emotional instability. Like I've said in the past, the King of Swords, see Mila in her, because she loves us so much, doesn't even want us to look at that inverted King of Swords. As I've said in the past about the inverted King of Swords, the inverted King of Swords is a psychopath. He is the Ice King. He is devoid of any compassion or any warmth. The King of Swords in general is a hi, how you doing? No? Come here. Here you go. The King of Swords is a military card. It's an Ice King, blue ice. When it comes inverted, I always think of this as one of the most brutal kings. This is the cutthroat, psychopath, heartless king. The difference, I think, between this card and, say, an inverted king of, or excuse me, an inverted emperor, is that an inverted emperor is somebody in a position of power, possibly a judge, who rules in a way that could be really sadistic. King of Swords. It's the cop who's gone bad. Not going forward with, we really hurt them with this trade war. We really hurt them with this trade war, and it forces them to go elsewhere. You can see here death, and also Ten of Swords here offers. I think they're going to have huge problems with Taiwan, and I think they're going to have huge problems with Hong Kong. I think it's going to, they're continually going to be trying to negotiate some kind of peace. Hong Kong will not give them rest, and I don't think that they're going to see, they're not going to be able to take over Taiwan and Hong Kong without a fight. Not with these types of cards. Look at this. Even if they give economic incentive to the protesters, it still will be to no avail. They're going to have real problems. All right, so that was China. I'm going to do the EU. then I will check, before we leave, I'm going to check on Minnesota and the EU this year, returning to solidify old contracts and old relationships. This means helping and assisting one another. Getting a lot of nice assistance to vulnerable nations in the EU. We can see here a nice 6 of Cups and going into smoother waters as well, with a nice 6 of Swords moving in, working together nicely, but it's going to be a lot of hard work. You can see a 10 of Wands right over Europe, inability to King of Swords, or excuse me, the Page of Swords inverted, leads me to suspect they're really going to work hard to establish and create a solid economic foundation for their partners. I'm sorry to say that Great Britain put themselves, again, it keeps talking about Great Britain and Boris Johnson, something about the fact that they have closed themselves off to former partners and former relationships, and it could potentially put Great Britain in a bad situation because they're between a rock and a hard place. Rejecting assistance to former, cutting off relationships, cutting off assistance, old relationships. You can see an inverted Ace of Wands here. Yeah. I think the EU, geez, boy, Britain really is on their own. EU is going to survive. EU is going to be okay, but I'm sorry to say, I think Britain's going to have a really rough time of it. Yeah, dang. Worst possible time to have Brexit because they're pulling away just as the EU is organizing assistance and repair and aid for the EU. So there's something here about strong EU countries being very specific about who they'll assist, and in fact being very clear that about how they will not assist Great Britain, I'm sorry to say. It feels to me when I go into this energy about Great Britain that they're going to be floundering almost for a full year. There's a feeling of floundering for the next 7 to 9 months at least. And it's because they don't have leadership. It just feels like they don't have leadership. Okay, so this next question I had was regarding George Floyd, the man who was murdered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. There's rioting all over the place. I did see towards the end of this presidency that there was going to be rioting. I think that there has been so much unhappiness that was caused by this presidency that it was only a matter of time when something like this was going to happen that just blew the lid off it. I guess they're now rioting Atlanta. As I had said, I was worried about rioting also on the whole eastern side, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania I'm concerned about, but also the entire East Coast I'm worried about rioting. Let me go in. I don't usually like to do remote views like this because they're so violent and it's kind of traumatic for me to go in. But it looks like Derek Chauvin was charged with 3rd-degree murder. So I'll just go ahead and look karmically at what's going to happen to Derek Chauvin and regarding the case with the murder of George Floyd. Let's take a look. Regarding the situation, the work of a psychopath. Remember what I had just said about the inverted King of Swords being a psychopath, military officer, possibly somebody in the military or in a position of power who has military training, psychopath, the Ice King, his work. So that's the issue of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with 9 minutes or so of the world being able to see what it's like to be the victim of a psychopath. And I think it's going to have long-term powerful consequences, not just because of the psychopathy involved, but also that it will be forever historically a reminder that this is what racism looks like, particularly when you've been targeted by the police that should be protecting us. So we have the psychopath card, and then we also have the 10 of Wands, which is to labor or work. It's to carry the load. Where we are at right now, fighting amongst us, 5 of Wands. But with fighting can also come resolution, peace, and mediation. This is really probably the riots that I know other readers had seen prior to the end of this presidency. And we can see here conflict of interest, conflict, also exchange of ideas. 5 of Wands is where we are at right now. And a lack of mercy, a lack of compassion. The 6 of Wands inverted, what is over us. I think it's going to take a long it's difficult now to see any healing happening. I know that well, now I'm just getting some information about the person who had passed away, just a little bit of data about him in terms of his life. It looks like this appears to be George Floyd. He was somebody who had struggled with a lot of things in his life. He's an inverted King of Wands, and he was somebody that was trying to get his life on balance because he was going through things at the time that this happened to him. And he was seeking counsel evidently from friends and family regarding his own struggles in life. So just as he was somebody who examined his stuff a lot and sought guidance from others. There's going to be some kind of financial compensation. There'll be both a criminal lawsuit, but also there'll be financial compensation here. Also the Minnesota state is going to begin to argue this, but there's definitely a financial settlement regarding this. And then issues about how much of a financial settlement with an inverted 6 of Pentacles. The final outcome is Chariot. There's going to be a monument to this victim. They're going to put some kind of monument or something up. Chariot can often be the erection of a monument. It's not just chariot movement. There will be something written like to commemorate what happened to this individual. And it marks the turning around, not just of this presidency, but a feeling in the nation as a whole that we are all in this together and that we must come together as a nation and heal. I think people are really tired of the whole red state, blue state thing. I really wish that cable news would get off of that, because that's not the spirit or the energy that we need in the country right now. This is talking about a need to come together to do the hard work, to heal, to look at our shadow as a country so that we can change and become a better country and a united country. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.